This week, I interview Andrea Fandino Briz. Now, Andrea is an account executive at an agency in Mexico City where she works with influencers and celebrity musical artists. This was a really fun interview because Andrea is a former student of mine, took a number of my classes, and graduated back in 2018. In this interview, we get into some advice she would give to her younger self currently in college, as well as her work right now working with influencers. And I guarantee you want to listen to the end when she talks about a story with an influencer that's memorable and will get a smile on your face for sure. A lot of the people who watch this are students or, growing in their field and there's a profession. And what's your definition of success? How do you define success?
First of all, I think it's just having the courage to set goals for yourself and then follow them. Because, goals can be something scary for some people. Definitely for me, at some point in my life, they were and they keep being a challenge because, once you set a goal, then there's some measurement that you can, put in there for yourself. And, sometimes it's hard to set a goal and then feel like, man, I might not be able to get there. But I think it's something that all successful people that I've met in my life have. They always set goals for themselves. Success is finding that meaning in whatever it is that you're doing, your job or studying or whatever that is, find the meaning and find the why behind it. So no matter, the challenges that you find, then you are always going to find that strength to keep going and just, make sure you get wherever you want to be. And one quote that I love that I think relates to success is always, find your courage over your comfort.
What would you say, it takes time to find that why. And if you were going to talk to yourself, say freshman, sophomore year, what would you tell your younger self at that time?
I would say to myself, dream big. Don't be afraid of dreaming big because that's just something that it's free. No one can tell you not to do it. And then if you dream big, there's no way of failing, no matter where you think you want to be, there's always going to be in the path of finding that things that you're going to find as successes for your person. So I think, dream big, just to doubt every single step that you're going to give and think that you're not enough for getting an A in that class that seems so hard, or applying for that internship, or, joining that student organization. There's always going to be doubts in your mind. I think it's something natural, but I would say don't let those doubts, stop you. One other thing would probably be take feedback and advice seriously, because I feel as young students, sometimes we feel, the feedback we hear from some people, oh, that's just their opinion. And, I'll move on with my life and, things will be different, because it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to hear feedback, especially if it's not always the nicest or it's positive. But I feel especially, if it's coming from people that that they want to see you succeed in life, just make sure that you hear and you listen to them carefully and you try to apply that.
Where you talk about internships, you talk about student organizations, you talk about, all these different things going on, and time flies by so quick in college. It flies by so quick. What would you say to a current college student is, hey, relax, take a step back and, smell the roses? What is something to say, hey, enjoy it now, because life changes here shortly?
Time. You said time flies. And the first thing that came to my mind was time. I would say just enjoy that you have so much time and try to make good use of it. Whether it's, for studying or getting an internship or for friends, I think I would say wise college students, from my perspective now, take all of that time that they have and they know how to use it appropriately. And that doesn't mean, don't put time into your friends or your relationship or school or work. I just think it's finding that right balance and making sure, you're using the time right. I surely miss, just having that 2-hour block in between one class and the other and just being able to chat with a friend or even making, an informational interview and just go with someone that is willing to give you like an hour of their time.
You were involved in many things, student organizations, internships, set yourself up for success. And one of those things was a Fleishman Hilliard Fellowship. What was your experience with Fleishman Hilliard?
Oh my experience at Fleishman was phenomenal. I loved it. I was certainly a little bit intimidated and afraid at the beginning. I was like, man, like, you know, I'm from Mexico, I'm an international student. I guess my English is good, but I was like, certainly there's people with better English around me. So I surely doubted myself a couple of times before I applied to the fellowship. Some of my biggest mentors in life and professionally are from Fleishman. Some of the people with the biggest heart that I know are from FH. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful that opportunity. And once again, I think it relates back to dreaming big.
What is it like now at Ocissa Satrec of working for a talent agency? What does that world feel like? What does that job feel like?
Before, I used to be on the client side at FH, even if we would be working with any sort of talent or influencers. Previously, I was on the side of the client and you're thinking more about strategy, about how I was going to use like X asset for my brand. And here I'm on the other side of the coin. You know, we represent the talent. Our job is to make sure that talent finds, you know, these business opportunities and finds a way of making these partnerships with brands and with, you know, different organizations. Influencers are this whole new world that it's still an unknown for many people, and even brands use them in ways like which it's so different from brand to brand. So it's interesting. I love it. You know, it gives you, I think, some unique opportunities, certainly working with talent. You know, we represent some of the biggest names in the Latin music. You know, we work with Maluma, we work with Sebastian Yatra, Alejandro Fernandez. You know, we have all of these names in our roster, which are, I mean, amazing people and amazing talent.
What is one story you can tell, right? So now I'm not trying to get any of the behind the scenes covert information, but what's one fun story that you could share with us on your time working with the agency?
One of the experiences that I had, which is kind of funny, but it always makes me laugh. And it was like on my second day at work or something like that. And it was my first shooting. We were shooting a TV ad and some, you know, like digital materials for Fossil, the watch brand, and they do purses and things like that. And I was working with Jimena Soriñana. She's a really important talent in Mexico and Latin America. So it was my first time doing anything like that. And my boss had initially said, you know, like, yeah, like work through all of these things, make sure everything's ready. You know, we have to make sure everything with the brand and the production agency and everything is ready, you know. So when the talent gets there, we're ready to go, we're ready to shoot. You know, you have to have everything ready, right? Jimena's super nice person. She's truly an adorable human being and so talented. She steps out of the Suburban and she literally like steps on poop. She steps on dog poop that was on the street, and I was like, oh my goodness, like how could this go? Like, oh my God. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? So I literally had to take her shoe off, and I was like, I'm so sorry, like, let me take your shoe off. And I had to find a way of cleaning it because, of course, like, we were going into the set, you know, you cannot make a mess. So, yeah, that was, I guess, a super fun experience. Like, oh my God, like, what do I do now? But, you know, I just had to grab her shoe, go, find a way of cleaning it, you know. The client was happy, Jimena was happy, and we were all happy. But I just think that's a funny story that happened.
Pitch, sell, promote, educate, anything you want. It could be professional. It could be a personal passion of yours. What goes in your 30-second Super Bowl commercial?
I'd make sure to put like a super neat ad about all the people that have, you know, showed up for the world during this pandemic. You know, just doctors, nurses. I just feel, I don't know, in a weird way, I feel a connection to them right now. And I'm like, man, like, I feel I have to show up for work and like that's not even comparable to what you have to do, you know, to like literally save the world.
Andrea, thank you so much for coming on the show, telling about your experience from student, your advice for current students, as well as telling some cool stories about dog poop in your first week or so of work and what goes on in the talent agency world. Thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Yeah. Listening to this, yeah, just enjoy your time at college, or if you're in your first job or whatever, you know, just make sure you keep hustling, as Dr. York would tell us every class.